everybody. Welcome to Lunch and Learn Live. I have had a bit of a break from Lunch and Learn Live over the last couple of weeks since I've been on holidays. It's been summer holiday time, but it is great to be back with you and to be chatting all things change, women's leadership, empowerment, etc., etc. It's good to be back. Oh, can you hear me? Yes, yes, yes. It's always a relief when I check that you can actually hear me because I can't see anyone there yet. As you arrive, do say hello to me. Let me know where you are in the world and what's for lunch is always fun to know in the comment section. I had a pita pocket. I had bready type stuff for the first time in months today. So we're on a bit of a bread adventure today. We'll see how that goes. It was pretty exciting, I must say. Oh, yes. What's for lunch where you are? What's the weather like where you are? Where are you in the world? Let me know in the comment section where you are, what you're eating for lunch / dinner / breakfast if you're over in the US. Good to get to know where you are. Today we're talking about something really fascinating, and it's a question that we get a lot from within our community. And I thought it might be nice to speak to today. And that is the question of how to make change from within a system. We have a lot of women who are in roles inside organizations, often working in very masculine environments, although not exclusively. Environments such as engineering or tech or, science, where it's not, they're off sometimes a lot more men than women, although sometimes it's just as many women as men, but the environment itself is still very masculine in its kind of outlook and operating system. And then they come into our community and go, oh, wow, well, there's a different way of operating, this different way of being, which we talk about here, which is, from a place of soft power with the women's power types and so on. But then they kind of hit this stomach. Well, okay, I feel like I'm doing this secret thing over here all by myself. Oh, look, there's my lovely Tracy. Some of you over the last few weeks will have heard me talk about my fabulous new assistant, Tracy. Here she is, bringing me a cup of tea. Thank you very much, my love. She is in the background, keeping the wheels turning for us. Thank you so much, honey. I really appreciate that. Then they kind of look around themselves in their very kind of masculine system and go, okay, I'm doing this secret squirrel soft power thing over here. I can see that my organization needs change. The whole organization might need to change in this way. Then that organization might be a workplace, but it could just as equally be a family, right? Or just as equally be a volunteer organization that you're a part of. How do we go about making that change? What is the approach? How do I make change from within, especially if it's not my organization? That's often one of the questions. It's like, I'm just one of the cogs in the wheel here. How can I make change when I'm not the designated change maker? How many of you can kind of relate to that? Let me know in the comments section there if you can relate to that, if that kind of lands for you. Allison says, yes, squeaky squirrel is just how, squeaky squirrel, secret squirrel. Not a squeaky squirrel, Allison, sorry. Secret squirrel is just how I feel, right? Absolutely. Oh, I like it. Beck's missing lunch and learn today, but she's saying she's at lunch and learn. That confuses me. But as you're arriving, I can see more and more of you arriving. As you do come in, say hello to me in the comments section. Let me know where in the world you are. What's for lunch? Alison is having sardines on toast in Sunny Bucks. Yum. I've been eating a lot of sardines in recent months. Thank goodness I like them. I'm with you there, sister, with you. So that's what we're going to have a little chat about today. We are going to have a talk about how to make change from within. If you are the secret squirrel who's kind of got a glimpse that things could be different inside of an organization, whether that organization is your family, it is your workplace, it's a community organization that you're a part of, and you're not the designated change maker, you're not the chief in charge of making change, the CEO or what do they call it in corporate, transformation consultant or change lead or, whatever the corporate words are for that. How do we do that? Alison is saying my video is dropping in and out. Can anyone else confirm whether that's happening, or is it just at Alison's end? Because I am on pretty good Wi-Fi at this end, and I'm on the right Wi-Fi by some miracle of modern technology. I didn't think to check that beforehand, but I am on the right one. So it should be okay. Let me know if it isn't. That's what we're going to talk about, how to make change from within. Now, before I get on and talk about that, I want to let you know that that is going to be a little bit of one of the themes that we're going to be exploring in a full day workshop that I'm running Thursday week. I think it's Thursday week. Is it Thursday week, Tracy? Yes, it's Thursday week. Next Thursday. The date is 2nd of September, we think. Thank you, my love. Now, we're putting Tracy through her paces today. It's the first time she's been with me while I'm training and throwing shit at her on the fly. So it's next Thursday the 2nd. We're running a new workshop called Elevate. And Elevate is a discovery, if you like, of the way that we train our coaches virtually here at One of Many. And we're going to have a look at a lot of the foundational tools of coaching, but not just look at them intellectually, actually practice them. You're going to go into breakout rooms, practice coaching techniques, practice these techniques with others, and learn how you can make change for others on that day. It's going to be a really awesome day. Someone has just put the link there, oneofmany.co.uk/elevate, which is great. And you're going to be able to join me in our first one-day coaching workshop, which I'm very excited about. Very excited to be delivering that. Please come and participate with us. Yes. Yes, Alison, I apologize for my language on that. Alison says, if I don't have a team to influence, help, and am just a cog. Yes, no one is just a cog, right? But that feeling that we can be just a cog was what I was speaking to earlier. So my apologies on that. Is Elevate still useful? Absolutely, because this is what I want to talk about today. And I'll answer that question again at the end today, Alison. And that is because when we are working from within, our ability to influence becomes even more important than those who are in influential positions. So I need my flip chart to demonstrate this. So excuse me one moment. You can still hear me while I bring this around. I need to draw you a Venn diagram, ladies, to describe. Tracy's having absolute heart attacks watching me pull this past all of my wires. I heard the heart attack happening. Thanks, honey. Awesome. Rock and roll. So can you guys see that? Yes, you should be able to see that. So the first thing we've got to understand is, thank you, my love, we've got to understand the difference, where influence comes from. And influence is something that comes from not your job, right? It comes from something else. Over here is your job or your role or your title. And all of the, the job description of what you do, all of the dot points of the things that you do. Yeah. That's a part of the value that you bring to your employer or to the community organization that you're a part of, and so on and so forth. That's a part of it. There's another part of your value that you bring, and that is what I call your stand. And your stand is, honey, would you mind closing that door so it doesn't bang on the wind? Thank you. Your stand is it's made up of your vision and your mission and what matters to you. And this can be completely different to your job, or it could have some overlap in terms of what you do. But I'm often reminded of the lovely Lynn Elder, who was general manager of our organization for a time before she retired with a little r, because she's still our team coach. She hasn't ever fully left. We will never let her go fully. She's my coach. She's the team coach. She's amazing. But for a long time, Lynn worked in marketing and in kind of customer service. So she was the head of Europe customer service for, it was a rental car agency. I forget which one it was off the top of my head. Avis, Hertz, one of those. a very big organization. So she was very high up. She was the head of customer service across Europe for that. Now, what she did was, a bunch of things leading, cross-culture integration so that they're delivering the same customer service experience in different countries all around the world, right? That was her job, to make sure that happened. That was her job spec. But Lynn was always known and had always inside of her organizations been known for the stand that she took for women inside organizations. So over the decades long career that she participated in, there was more to Lynn than just her job spec. It was that she really cared about women. She would mentor young women up through the ranks. She would, was always making the case for diversity, even before diversity was a word that we used in corporate speak. And her stand was something which, to start with, was probably quite independent of her role. But the more she got known that she cared about that stuff, that it mattered to her, it overlapped into her job spec. And even if it doesn't overlap directly, this becomes really powerful, right? Does this make sense, ladies, what I'm saying here? For those of you who've just joined us, we're talking today about how to make change inside of an organization from within, when your job role is not the head of change or the, change management consultant or the CEO or the person who's, allowed to make change. How do you do that? So the first thing you want to know is that you've got to be clear that what you care about, you've got to have a stand for how things could be. Let me know if this is landing for you, right? Let me know if this is landing for you in the comment section. Do you understand this difference? So if you are someone who cares about diversity, who cares about your entire organization shifting to the kind of organization where people do not burn out as a matter of course, right? That's what we talk about here at One of Many. How do we have impact without burning out? Well, we teach individuals to do that. And then those individuals who discover how to do it from themselves go, oh my God, my organization needs this. You can become the stand for impact without burnout inside of an organization without being the designated impact without burnout person yet. But you need to know how to be a stand for it, for yourself and for others first. Is this landing? Please let me know if this is landing. Give me some feedback here in the comment section. I can see there's dozens of you on the call with me here, but I want to know that this is making sense so far. So first, you've got to be kind of clear about that. You've got to know you've got to know that it matters to you, and you have to do it for yourself, right? That's it. Okay, great. So Lynn is saying, yes, that's why I left jobs, because they were not in alignment with my vision and my values. Well, that's it, right? That you can leave the job. That's one way. That's where you go, okay, this organization, I cannot function inside here. If you get to the point where you're so burned out and you can't function inside a workplace, then yes, you have to leave. And what we're seeing inside of One of Many is a bunch of women who are discovering that when they can find a way of creating impact without burnout for themselves, they're finding a resilience inside themselves to start making this change from within. So in order to work on this piece, getting known for your stand inside your workplace, beyond just your job role, what do we need to do? Well, the first, and this is kind of a big piece of it, of how to change a whole organization. First of all, you have to access, and I say first of all, and I don't like saying first of all because they kind of happen at the same time, but I'm going to talk first about your personal power. So the first part of this, if you want to get great at changing from within, is you need to become the beacon of the new way of operating. You need to set yourself apart from everybody else, not with what you are doing, but with how you are being. Not with what you're doing, but with how you are being. And I remember in the Hearth just recently, and I forget who it was, but one of you ladies might have seen the post and you can remind me who it was who put this up, one of our Lead the Change members shared how she had been working through the one of many tools and had fully, has been integrating soft power into her way of operating, integrating the women's power types that we talk about here as a part of a way that she was operating, and became really clear about well-being, about her own well-being journey. And she talked to her manager about what she needed and had conversations around her needs, created a bunch of stuff. So much so that when her organization then realized that it was a bit of a problem throughout, she started to help her manager and was asked for her advice and to be a kind of champion of the well-being project, because that's what she had done for herself. Now, it wasn't because she was going to her manager and saying, we need to change things. She happened to be in an organization that was noticing that it needed to change, and she was one of the bright lights of change inside her organization. Now, every organization is going to be different, but you need to access the personal power and get great at it for yourself, because then you can become a beacon for the new way of being, not doing, being. You're going to do your job, right? But when you show up to work and every day you're showing up to work a little happier, a little more relaxed, with a little bit more spaciousness, when you're just gently saying to the rest of your team, I think we could all be more efficient if we move Tuesday's afternoon meeting to right after the Monday one, and we do 2 meetings together and we start batching. I just think we'd be more efficient. What do you guys think? And they'll go, actually, yeah, that would make sense. Let's do that. Little tiny suggestions like that, where you start to become, people start noticing you because what you're doing is making your working week work better for you, right? If you're making your way of being in the world work a little better, people will notice when you start showing up more chilled, more relaxed, more in your soft power, more in your queen energy. If you start saying no to things, or rather than no, I'm not going to do that, you say, absolutely, I'm happy to look at that, but I've got these other 5 competing priorities on my project list at the moment. So how would you like me to reprioritize, boss? Bosses notice that. Good bosses notice that. Bad bosses say, you're going to get them all done, fuck off. If you're in that kind of environment, maybe there's other environments for you. But people who care about productivity, they don't even need to care about people, right? But people who care about productivity, if you come to them and say, these are the priorities, I've only got this many hours, which do you want me to reprioritize? It makes all of the difference in the world. They will go, oh, wow, here's someone who's actually prioritizing effectively. You start to get noticed. So there's 2 reasons to work on your personal power, if you like. One is your life just starts working better when you come not from Superwoman. We talk a lot here at One of Many about Superwoman who pushes through, does it all herself. Let me know in the comments section if you've ever done Superwoman. I was Superwoman for a very long time. So, she's always powering through, trying to get everything done, doing it all by herself, better than everybody else, not delegating, not being part of the team, just get it all done, burning herself out, right? And rather than doing that, you need to shift into your impact without burnout mode and shift into your soft power, we call it here at One of Many. And operating, and what our soft power looks like, it's kind of activating 3 power centers. And I'm not going to go into this in detail, but the first power center, for those of you who know the methodology, is activating your women's power types: Queen, Warrioress, Lover, Mother, and Sorceress. The second power center is activating the power center, which is others, which is your relationships, your networks. And the third power center is activating your connection to source energy, what you call the divine, higher self, your intuition. Whatever it is you call it. But when you are activating these 3 power centers and you're in your soft power, first of all, it works better for you, right? First of all, it works better for you. Second of all, you get noticed even when you're just doing your job, whatever your job is. You get noticed, right? You get noticed. Now, you also will start to develop your stand, right? Because as you get noticed for this, it becomes who you are. then that will probably inform this very specific piece, which is your stand, what you are a stand for inside your organization. You might be a stand for diversity. You might be a stand for well-being. You might be a stand for efficiency. It's just like the angle or the edge on how you've got your things that you do, but then there's your kind of superpowers or the things that you really care about that people get to know. And as people get to know that, you start to get tapped on the shoulder to head up steering committees or working groups or to be a part of something, even though it's not necessarily in your job title yet or even ever. Does this make sense, ladies? Is this kind of landing? Is it landing for you? Absolutely agreed, Lynn. Lynn is saying here there is definitely a shift in organizations now regarding employees' health and well-being. We are seeing it more and more as organizations are waking up to the fact that a burnt out workforce doesn't work. And right now it's acute and it's very, very important because so many employees are suffering from what I call pandemic burnout, right? Pandemic burnout is that at the very beginning, we saw, there's an interesting research I was reading recently from, who did it? Oh, I haven't got it at the front of my mind. I wasn't planning to talk about this, but it's related to that. One of the big schools over in the States. I'll look it up and come back to you next week with it. But they were looking, usually employee engagement and employee well-being go hand in hand. The more well-being, the more well a workforce is, the more engaged they are in their work. Interestingly, at the beginning of the pandemic, we saw a discrepancy between this for the first time ever, where employee engagement went up even though well-being was down. And that makes sense when you put a big global threat to jobs, to personal safety, to everything in play, i.e. COVID. People were, I think, so happy to have their jobs. If they loved their organization, they were happy to fight for it through this kind of, like war. It was almost like wartime, right? We have this common enemy of COVID and getting through the recession and doing all of that. So despite well-being going down, engagement went up. But that's only a short-term thing. Everybody, if you think about it, the collective world went into Superman and Superwoman, mostly, to get through it. But now everybody is realizing that after more than 12 months of operating like that, it's unsustainable. And that's why we're seeing more and more companies going, oh, we really need to focus on employee well-being now rather than just the box ticking exercise, because we're losing people all over the place. Nowhere are we seeing this more than in the NHS. And unfortunately, here in the UK, I think it's going to be one of the last organizations to really properly do anything about it, because still the NHS is at the front line of having to deal with the issue that caused the whole damn thing. And not bad-mouthing the NHS, but just because of, the way this behemoth works. But yes, more companies are genuinely interested, right? Absolutely. So back to you and how do you make change? So first of all, become the beacon, right? Or part of it is becoming the beacon. I don't like the first of all thing, but part of it is becoming the beacon. Now, there's two other gears to making change that need to happen to change an organization. One is unconscious bias, and the other is what I would call infrastructure, policies, all of that kind of stuff, actual setup, systems, structures. So part one is about you becoming the beacon for impact without burnout inside your organization if you want to make that change. Also, your personal power is about developing your influence, your ability to influence from within. And that is about developing your communication skills. It's about developing your, what I call your beingness, your way of being. When you are that beacon and when you have great communication skills, stuff that we teach you in the coaching certification, stuff that we will be talking about at Elevate next week, as you increase these, your ability to influence and your beingness, your way that you are being in yourself, you will start to make change from wherever you are. Now, this is something that I like to talk about. I'm just kind of jumping all over the place with lots of different ideas today, but is this fun? Are we having some good stuff, some pennies dropping. Where are my power types? Here they are. So when it comes to the power types, ladies, here at One of Many, we talk about 5 women's power types. Here they are. Many of you will be familiar with these if you've been part of the community. Who's new today? Let me know in the comment section if you're new to One of Many today with telling me new, or let me know in the comment section if you are an old hand or you're experienced with the tools. It's nice to get a sense of who's there, so do let me know. So each of these power types that we work on when we're helping you get into your personal power has a different style of leadership. So Queen very much leads from the front, if you like. She leads through inspiration. She stands a little separate from her team. She is the one who would have the job description of make change, right? The warrioress leader can lead from alongside, and how she does it inspires others. So from within, warrioress can make change. So even if you don't have the job title, from within, you can make change with your warrioress leadership. Also from within, in our sorceress energy, we can make change, because we can make change on an energetic level. When you can see that there's individuals within your organization that need a little extra support or whatever it might be, you can magic and manifest up change from sorceress from within. And we talk about that at our higher level programs. I don't want to go too woo-woo today. Mother energy, doesn't matter what your job description, you can make change from within, from a place of unconditional love and unconditional nurturing for people around you, right? And of course, your lover energy is your own self-care and looking after yourself. But each of the power types can help you to either influence from the front or from within the organization. You don't have to have the job title. Now, so you're going to be working on your personal power. You're going to be working on your influence. Then as you start to get noticed, or as you start to be that stand, as your organization starts to be open to it, or you see the openings to start the conversation, that's where anybody can start calling out the unconscious bias. So unconscious bias is basically where collectively we have a way of thinking about things that we all agree on. So it's ridiculous. I am a woman, as you can probably tell. I am also a doctor. Yet I notice that still, if Greg goes to the doctor, I'll say, what did he say? The assumption is that whoever it was he saw is a he. That's starting to change, but I use it for illustration. What did he say? When you're making an assumption about the electrician, what did he say? The plumber, what did he say? We assume that trades are male, that leaders are male, right? In our unconscious, even when we are part of the, not even minority in a woman's sense, but when we are part of the community that is biased against, we often still buy into it. If I say the word CEO, you have a picture jump into your head of what that person looks like. Now, they may be male, they may be female. For most people, they're white, right? Because that's just what we see the most. This is unconscious bias. Now, unconscious bias happens every day at work. It's in the assumptions that your manager makes when they delegate this piece of work to Sam and not to Jack, right? To the man on the team and not the female on the team, or to the white person on the team and not the person of color on the team, and so on and so forth. It happens and it informs things every day. Calling it out can be an act of leadership from within that can start to change organizations. And it doesn't have to be mean, and it doesn't have to be you're awful. It can be gentle and from mother power type from within. It can be a really gentle thing where you say, it's something like pointing it out very, very, and I think it has to come from mother energy if you want to do it from within. Because I know a lot of people don't call it out because they worry for their jobs. But it can come out very gently depending on the relationship you have with your manager, the formula. But if you went up to someone and said, hey, I just noticed the other day that, this piece of work went to that person and not this person. I noticed that she's really burnt out at the moment because she's got a lot on her plate. Not that anything needs to change, but it's probably, because she is so capable, I wonder whether we made assumptions about her capability for it. Whereas I know, XYZ is over there on the other side, doesn't have a lot. So just something to be aware of for next time around. You can start to gently call these things out. Or even doing it in the other way. I know that Maxine would be great for this. Absolutely great for this. Being a champion for people of color inside your organization, being a champion for the women inside your organization, pointing out to managers that they're great. When you start pointing out the good stuff that people in those often overlooked groups have, I beg your pardon, yes, the qualities that they have, the abilities that they have, you start to challenge unconscious bias in this way as well. Now, I'm not going to dig into this in huge amounts of detail, but you get that there are ways that we're operating. We're not challenging our assumptions, right? Enough. But from within, we can do that. And when you do it from the right place, from your power types in a really coaching kind of sense, even if you're not the coach of the person, from a coaching methodology, you can really help. Then the other big thing that needs to change is infrastructure, policies, all of that kind of stuff. If you really want to change an organization, especially a very masculine organization, to be more impactful without burnout, definitely, parental leave needs to change. The hours that people work need to change. Overtime policies need to change. All that stuff needs to change. Now, many organizations have got those in place, but they're overlooked. And so it's all landing in the unconscious bias place, right? It's all landing in the, not just unconscious bias, but there's policies are in place, but they're not being actioned because the paradigm is still out of whack. That's where you need to start doing this work. But for some places, they don't have it yet. So you might be in an organization where, because you've stepped into your power around it and you're the beacon, you can actually start having have conversations with people and say, well, I noticed that we actually don't have a written parental leave policy here. You might be working in a small business. I'm really happy to put something together if that would be helpful. Or I found this on a website. Could we institute something like this? You can start to be a champion from within wherever you are, right? And yes, I know there's politics and all of that. So I know I'm making generalizations. And you might say to me, Jo, not in my organization. But if you pull back away from the specifics of how I'm saying to land the communication, because that is different depending on who you're landing it with, what the working relationship is, what the context is, all of those things will feed into exactly the specifics. But come back to the big picture. Become a beacon of the new way of operating. Develop your influencing skills, and then know that from anywhere inside the organization, because of your stand for things being different, you can start to challenge unconscious bias in a way which is compassionate and strives towards unity, not separation. And you can start to support this side, if that's something that's of interest for you, by becoming that. Now, that, I think, is how we make change. And I think that's how we make change from within an organization. Let me know how this is landing for you, ladies. What sorts of things you're taking away from this, and what what your takeaways are from this particular session. I'd be really interested in your feedback. While you're putting those in the comment section, please let me know. Give me some feedback here. And by the way, if this is useful for you, please feel free to share this video. It will go straight up to YouTube after we're finished here today. So it'll be on both YouTube and it's right here on Facebook. Share it with your boss. That's one way you can gently influence, right? Share it with other people in your organization. Share it with people that you work with. Get the message out. One of many, we want to equip 1 million women with these tools. That's why I share lots of amazing free information on Lunch and Learn Live all of the time. So, whilst you're working on this stuff and getting your influence up, remember that the coaching session that we are running next Thursday the 2nd of September, we are doing a 1-day discovery, exploration, and interactive workshop where you get to use our tools with other people. So you get to practice your influencing skills, practice your coaching skills, practice your ability to listen and come from your power types with people from within, not necessarily as a designated coach. We get to practice all of this next week. So we're going to have some fun with that. That's happening next Thursday. I'd love for you to come and join us. We've had over 92 women register for this day-long workshop. And we would love to have you come. It's not a free one. Because we want to limit the numbers so that we can do it on Zoom and we can have breakout rooms and we can have real impact for the people that come. It has got a limit on it. We can only take a couple hundred people on it, and already we've got 92 registered for it, or I think it's 92, maybe a few more than that. But it will be a very interactive day. So you can see all the details at oneofmany.co.uk/elevate. Share it with your community, share it with your workplaces, share it with anyone who you go and have a look at the website. And if it speaks to you, this could be a way that you can make change inside your organization. You can say, hey, One of Many is an organization that I follow and I'm a part of. They're running this coaching workshop. I wonder if we should send a couple of managers along, right? Absolutely. There's all sorts of different ways that you can make change. Lovely. Victoria says, this is really interesting, the way you talk about having the power whilst you may not be a decision maker. I'm cohort 6 of the coaching certification and the soft power is really kicking in, but interesting how I can bring this to my corporate work. Victoria, I'm glad you can sense that, because this is the point. Any good leader worth their salt knows that their job is to define the work of the team and have an amazing team and get the fuck out of their way so their team can do the job. Any good leader or manager knows that that's the best they can do, is to bring the brilliance out of the people around them. And in most organizations in the world, we're not in those bad old days where the leader is the person who is the dictator, right? And who has to get all of the accolades. Yes, I know that is still the case in some organizations, but not in most. And therefore, most leaders and managers are looking for you to be more brilliant. I think most of us spend all of our time inside of corporate employment or in our jobs terrified that we're going to lose them. And because of that fear, we don't speak up, we don't bring our brilliance, we don't become the beacon. But what we've seen across the board with our One of Many graduates, women who are coaching certification graduates and who are taking this inside their organization, or women who are on Lead the Change or Living the Change, across the board, we get stories certainly every month, we get women sharing in the half that they're noticed, that they've had the courage to ask for something, to point something out, and it's starting to facilitate change from within. When you are resilient, when you are centered in your soft power, when you feel that you are valuable and have value to bring, and then you just show up as a normal human being, right? Talking to another normal human being, and you can do away with this hierarchical, oh, my job's always at threat piece. Everything can change. Everything can change, right? Absolutely. Valerie says, I think this is also very useful when you run a company with your husband. Changes are happening step by step. Absolutely. I know this to be true. I mean, I spent the last 15 years of my life working with Greg. He's now moving out of the organization, which is a new chapter for us. It's like crazy. But yeah, absolutely. Who you be in your partnership can absolutely make a difference too, right? Especially if you're running a business with your partner. Definitely. So I hope this has been useful, ladies. If it has, please share it. Tag someone in the comment section if there's somebody you know needs to be seeing this today. But this is my little take on how we can make change from within. I mean, there's so much we could talk about this subject, but a few little pointers to go explore for you. And if you'd like to come and join us for Elevate next week, if you are thinking about becoming a coach, or you are a leader or a manager inside of an organization, and you know that getting better at your own personal power and your ability to influence others is going to be useful, come join me for Elevate next week. It goes 9:30 to 4:30 next Thursday the 2nd. And there's a very small fee, just so that we know exactly the numbers we're getting. I think it's something like only £27 for the whole day of training. Best value coach training you're going to get. Introductory kind of coach training you're going to get out there. Lots of opportunities to go into breakout rooms, practice coaching with people. You're going to have a ball. You're going to love it. So it's at oneofmany.co.uk/elevate. Having said that, it's been great to spend some time with you today, ladies. Good to be back from summer holidays. Excuse me. And I'll see you next week on Lunch and Learn Live. It's time for me to go and drink some of that tea that Tracy bought me 40 minutes ago. See you later. Bye.